But the United Nations says that atrocities committed by Sudan's rapid support forces in El Fasher bear the hallmarks of genocide. Pressure is mounting on the international community to respond. In response, the United States has imposed new sanctions which target RSF leaders who are accused of orchestrating violence against civilians in North Darfur. For more on that, we're joined by Monim Haroon. He's an advocacy specialist. Thanks very much for being with us, Monim. So the UN saying now that the violence in El Fasher that you've been talking about a great deal, but which hasn't been getting a lot of traction in the international media, it has to be said. And they are saying that was a genocide. Why aren't we seeing more of an international response now?
Hi, Laura. Thank you so much. And always great to be with you. Yeah, so while the sanctions against the RSF leaders might confirm the atrocities committed against the civilians in Al Fasher itself, but sanctions themselves won't protect the civilians. Unfortunately, we as a Sudanese have been in this situation for almost 3 decades now, and the international community actually put sanctions on the former regime that created these forces and these militia that are committing today these atrocities, and as well as the Sudanese army. But those sanctions did little to protect the civilians nor change the situation on the ground. So sanctions without enforcement are meaningless and means nothing for the people on the ground, unfortunately.
And Monim, are sanctions on these high-ranking RSF officials likely to make any difference to the situation on the ground?
Unfortunately not. And also they can barely be filled by the people on the ground. Just to give a little bit background, the former regime, Omar al-Bashir regime, the Islamic regime, was under heavy sanctions for the last 2 decades until it was overthrown in 2019. But those sanctions are unfortunately came against the civilians because the regime felt like they kind of get an immunity because there was no follow-up for those sanctions, and the civilians are the one who suffered from those sanctions. The issue is that the international community might put sanctions on some leaders, but they have no tools to enforce those sanctions. And while the leaders continuing to committing the crimes against civilians. So the civilians are the ones that are suffering. So what I wanted to say is that the Sudanese people do not need more sanctions. The Sudanese people need a real work and real efforts from the international community to end the war, in the ongoing war, which is the main cause for those crimes committed against the civilians.